and a man whom I'm confident will become our nation's next president. John McCain has served effectively in the United States Congress for the last 28 years, 22 of them as a senator from Arizona. Senator McCain continues a line of service to our country, deeply committed to the military service, from Navy admirals to himself as a pilot and prisoner of war, and to his own son who currently serves in Iraq. It is truly an honor to have him with us tonight. But before we give you a little, you know, New Orleans, we're a musical city, and we'd have a little second line music and all for a few minutes while he's relaxing in the back. But I'd like to thank all the volunteers tonight who came out and did such a great job, most of them from our Republican women's organizations. Thank you very much. Thank you. One of the Republican Party's greatest assets, the Republican Women's Club. But right now, I'm going to introduce to you New Orleans' own Tim Laughlin and his all-star brass band, and featuring our own Bible cheerleaders. So enjoy the program, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy yourself.
The governor and John and I were out in this big bus in the parking lot the last few minutes as John was working on his speech and getting ready. And I told him, I said, I remember the first time you and I went to Iowa, John, about 2 years ago. We borrowed someone's pickup truck and we drove to a meeting of the farmers in a cornfield near town. He said, I remember, and there were 5 people at that meeting. That's how campaigns for president are run and started. They're started by people with courage and vision and a plan for America. And that's what John McCain has done. I remember in the early days of the campaign as a volunteer, how hard it was to get a crowd. So I want to start tonight by thanking each of you for coming. I know you had somewhere else to be tonight, a family member to be with, a business to run, a church to attend, so I'm glad you're here with us. Second, I want to say that this is a special night for Louisiana. Now, I'm a farm boy born on a cotton farm in North Louisiana, and I'm 64 and have spent all my life coming and going across our state. I've been in every city, every parish, every community. And I always felt that most people in America will only know us by long distance. They'll never come here themselves. And if I could talk to each American, I would tell them that Louisiana is undervalued, that Louisiana is not respected as much as it deserves, that Louisiana is the home of heroes. And if you don't believe me, look at what happened after Katrina. Look at Now, let's tell the truth. Katrina was the greatest storm ever to hit America. Katrina was the greatest natural disaster ever to hit America. And the thing that I noticed were not the few who quit or who did wrong, but the thousands and thousands who came back to Kenner and New Orleans and St. Bernard to save their mothers, their fathers, their pets, their homes, their possessions. I noticed the thousands of people who didn't give up, who didn't quit, who showed the courage to come back. And everywhere I go in America with John McCain and I introduce him, I always thank the people of Iowa, of New Hampshire, of Michigan, of South Carolina, of Massachusetts, of Florida, of Tennessee, of Mississippi, of Texas, of Arkansas, of Colorado, of California, all the places that I've been. I start off by thanking America for coming to help Louisiana. So tonight, I want to thank Louisiana for coming to help Louisiana. I want to thank my church, the Good Methodists in Baton Rouge, for the day of the storm getting in their boots and their pickup trucks and bringing their boats behind them and coming to New Orleans and Jefferson Parish when the government was trying to stop them. They said, no, we are coming to help our neighbors. Remember it? We're coming to help our neighbors. They couldn't stop us. And the government tried. I love John McCain. When he came to New Orleans after the storm, you know what he said, don't you? He said, never, ever again will the federal government be as unprepared, as unfocused, as unready as they were that day. Never again, he promised. That's a commitment. How do you pick a president? How do you pick a president with a lot of good people running? How do you pick a president if you can only choose one? I had an old test. It comes from a guy who carved dogs out of pine stumps. And a woman, and he carved them so well that you thought they were barking. And a woman and her children came to watch him on his front porch one day in North Louisiana. And finally she could stand it no longer. And she said, how do you do it? How do you get a dog out of this? He said, it's easy. I get up every morning. I thank the Lord for my life. I sharpen my knife. I eat my breakfast. I pick out a stump. And I carve away everything that doesn't look like a dog. How do you pick a president? I say let's carve away everything that doesn't look like a president. Let's carve away everything that doesn't look like commander-in-chief. I see a nation ready to be rebuilt. I see a world that cries out for leadership. I see a country that needs a strong commander-in-chief from day one. John McCain, son of an admiral, grandson of an admiral, he is ready from day one. What? When it became apparent 2 years ago that we had spent too long in Iraq with too little to show for it, the Democratic solution was to quit, to come home, to fight on our soil rather than their soil, to give every advantage to Al-Qaeda by telling them exactly when we were going to quit. But John McCain didn't surrender. John McCain didn't quit. John McCain stood on the floor of the Senate and listened to General Petraeus. He listened to his own conscience. He relied on his own experience. And he called for the replacement of Donald Rumsfeld and the failed Department of Defense strategy. And he called for a surge to win the war. The rest is history being written. A war being won